Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of our Mercedes Sprinter camper conversion. Today we're going to be starting the interior of the van. Obviously this is now starting to get us into the place where the van is becoming even more of a camper. As you can see behind, we've already got the bed installed. If you haven't checked out our video of installing the bed, we'll put a link to that video just in the top, just up here. So today we're going to be starting the wall panelling. We're going to be starting off with the bed area and we'll be going through how we're going to be fitting that into the van. So first things first, we're going to be using our sawhorses, which we built in a previous video. Again, if you haven't seen that video, go check it out. We'll put a link to the video just at the top of here. So these are going to be really useful for laying our pieces of ply on top. So we're going to set these out, get some ply out and start cutting. So as we've got the bed installed widthways across the van, we're going to want to maximise the amount of space that we've got on these side walls. So we're going to be running some wood panelling down the side of here, but we're going to be building a box section into this part just here with a wooden frame around the outside, and then it will be stepping out before going back up to the top. We're going to be making this out of 9mm ply and then having a ledge stepping in with another 9 piece of ply, which will be then routing some slots inside just to make it look like tongue and groove boarding. We did consider going down a tongue and groove boarding route, but just from a simplicity point of view, we've decided to go with a 9mm ply, and also we think that the look of this will look considerably like the tongue and groove boarding as well. So what we've done is we've cut some pieces of wood to fit in the frame of the van, making a picture frame style piece of material. So you can see we've routed recess into here, which we're going to be sitting our piece of ply in. We're just going to be gluing and drilling these corners, just making sure they're square with the square, clamping them in place. We're doing that with all 4 corners using some of this Gorilla Glue, and then we'll be putting a piece of ply down on top of here which will make up our frames. Okay, so we're just finishing off the picture frame piece now. We have a complete square or rectangle just here, and then we've got a piece of ply which we've cut to the inside dimensions of the frame, and then we're just going to be slotting this in like so. Fits nice and snug down in the frame. Be gluing and screwing this in, so then when you're on the other side, as you can see, there's like a picture frame style piece. Next job we're going to be doing now is we're going to be taking this plyboard and we're going to be routing some lines in it so that it looks like wood panel effect. So we'll be using a router with a 90-degree V-bit to route some lines down through there. The other added benefit of using ply and putting a router down through is you can make the boards look as wide as you want them. We want to go with slightly wider look boards rather than the standard tongue and groove panelling. So we'll probably be going for 150mm space boards, running some router lines down. So first thing we're going to do is find the middle of this piece of board. So we'll just use a tape measure just to find the centre and draw a line. So we've routed a line in the centre of our piece of board. We've then got this piece of wood that's running across here, which we're using as our router guide. The bit of our router is 55mm away from the edge, just on there. So then all we need to do is, if we measure at 150mm from the edge of this piece up this way, our lines will then be 150mm apart. Saves you having to try and find the centre of this line. You've got a nice straight edge to measure from. So we'll be measuring that and setting up the next piece. Okay, so we're now fitting the piece that we've just scribed back into the frame. As you can see, fits nicely, just snugly in, and then when you turn it up the other way, you get a nice scribed panel finish which looks like tongue and groove boarding. We're going to be painting these white, give them a quick sand down, really effective look with the tongue and groove style look. So the next part that we're going to be doing is now fitting the frame around the outside of the boards that we've just built, the panelled boards. These are again going to have the tongue and groove in them, so we need to be able to line these up. So we're going to use some 9mm ply to measure around the edge of here, and then we're going to attach the smaller panels into the middle, cut out a hole, and then we'll have a nice recessed area with our panels around the outside. Obviously the sides of the van here aren't straight, it's not a straight line from the top to the bottom. So to get that nice flush finish, what we've done is, this is just a scrap piece of ply that we're showing you on, but you put a piece of ply all the way up so that the top is in nice and snug, and then down on the widest part of the van down at the bottom, what you do is if you cut a noggin of wood that is that width, and then you just get a pencil, put it on the end, and then as you move that piece of wood up with the pencil, you get a nice line then on your wood. That's where you've got to cut with a jigsaw. So just run it up the side of the van, up on your piece of ply, and then that will give you the contour of the van. Obviously any little bumps like these little panels here will be shown on there, but you can just straighten those lines off. So that gives you a nice scribed edge without having to fiddle about with putting pieces of wood in and out of the van all the time. So now we've got our nice contoured piece of ply. This is contoured nicely into the van. We've also taken out these notches for the roof ribs. We're going to be fitting this right up flush to the roof, so they're cut out and this board fits nicely. The next job now is to take our inlay panels which we've built here, and then we're going to be laying these face down, marking around the position, and then cutting out a square hole then in the centre of this piece of ply for them to go into. To be able to get a bit more depth in on our wall, just with this 9mm ply, what we're doing is we're adding another piece of PSE timber just on top, just to give us that bit more depth, a little bit of a deeper recess. So we're just cutting some extra strips of the wood, only around 3 sides, we don't need it on the bottom piece, so just around the top and the 2 sides. And again we'll be gluing and screwing these in before we attach them onto the 9mm wall ply. So what we've done is we've measured now from the edge of the van, which will be this corner down here, into where the recess can start for these panels, and then we've measured, we're going to draw a line along here, set it back in then the width of the wood, and then we'll have a cutout for these panels to go onto. Obviously you can't do this face down, make sure you do it face up, otherwise your panels are going to be backwards, but you can then draw your line, cut out your square, and you can attach these wood panels in. So we've now drawn our pencil line around our board, and then we're just using a piece of the same timber just to draw an inner edge. Obviously you don't want to cut the width of the board because you need to be able to screw it on, so just drawing then around this piece of timber to get our cutting line. We'll use the jigsaw to cut this out. So we've now cut the hole out, and our existing panel is now clamped in place. The next job to do is obviously we want to continue these lines going up on this piece of wood, so we're now going to mark the position of them, get the router, and continue those lines up onto this existing piece of ply. Once we've done that, we can then screw it all together, and then we have one panel made. So there we now have the panel in the van, fits in really snugly. We're going to be pushing this bit tight up against the van here. Going to have a piece of ply attached to this strut, which we'll then screw the board into, but it sits really nicely. All the loom wires are going to come over the front. We're going to work out how to attach those back up. We now have this nice recess in here, Probably going to be putting some LED strip lighter up in underneath, so we've got a bit of extra lighting, and then we can attach some downlighters, some reading lights in there as well. So next job is to make one exactly the same for the other side, but we can use this one now as a template. Obviously the other side of the van is a mirror of this side, so we can just use this one as our template for the opposite side. I'm really pleased. So next job is now we're going to be sanding these down. Some of the routing lines are a little bit fuzzy, a little bit furry, so we'll be sanding those down, and then we'll be painting these white, give them a couple of layers of white paint, and then we should get that nice tongue and groove effect on the board. Both panels are now temporarily fixed up inside the van, so we've got this one on this side and then the opposite one on the opposite side. For now they're just screwed in the centre. We are going to be putting that piece of wood that I mentioned earlier just along the back, just to pull them in a bit tighter. We're also, like I said, going to be sanding these down so we get rid of all of the burrs and little bits of fluff off the wood, and then we're going to be painting them white and then adding some LED strip lighting underneath here, just so we've got a little light. We've also added this little shelf just on here, just on the back, just in between the bed and the back doors, so that when you close the back doors up, so you can see just here, you now get a nice shelf where you can put cups. We're also probably going to put some USB sockets just over on the plastic parts just over here, so you can put mobile phones down and any other charging bits. So it's a really good job done today. Really pleased with getting that finished. So that's it for another episode of our Mercedes Sprinter camper conversion. Thank you very much for checking in with us. We're really pleased with what we've done today. As always, if you've got any comments, any tips and tricks, or anything you want to comment on or see more of, put a comment down below and we'll get back to you. Also, as always, thank you very much for everyone that's subscribed to our channel. If you are checking us out for the first time and you haven't already done so, remember to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell for when we upload new videos. We upload a new video every Sunday, so check back in next Sunday for our next instalment. So look forward to seeing you soon. Bye!